Hello. We are now going to learn 6.7 today, and then on Wednesday we are going to learn 6.8. And I'm skipping 6.6. So then that will conclude chapter 6. And then you can expect a short quiz on chapter 6. But I will announce that on Wednesday. Okay, so today's lesson is on simple interest. Okay, so when we open a savings account, we're essentially lending money to the bank or the credit union, and then they pay a fee to whoever holds the savings account. And then, let's see, I'll change my color. And anyway, so the fees are essentially what the interest is. That's where they make their money to hold your money, type of thing. Or if you're taking out a loan, then that's it. That's what you pay to have that loan taken out, right? So the amount of money that you borrow or that you initially put in, depending on what it is referred to as the principal. And the charge for interest is often given as a percent, and it's called the interest rate or the rate of interest. Okay. You want to make sure you always put that as a decimal, but I think that's on this next slide. Okay. So the formula to find simple interest. Now, let me clarify. Simple interest is used mostly for short-term loans, most real estate loans, and many like automobile loans. So what that means is they're only doing the interest on the principal amount, only on that. So it's whatever you deposit, if it's like a savings account, or whatever you borrow if it's a loan. So they're only putting interest on that amount only, which can be good and bad depending on what it is. And I'll explain more of this when we talk about compound interest on Wednesday. But anyhow, so simple interest just earns the interest on that principal amount. And the formula is just principal times rate times time. So this means this is the interest. Okay, I'm going to make that a capital I that you can tell is a capital I. Principal times the rate as a decimal, okay, times the time in years. And I'll walk you through an example right now. Okay, so we're looking at finding the interest on $6,000 at 8% for 1 year. So whether that's you're putting money in an account or you're taking a loan for a year, whatever it is, this will help figure out what the interest would be. So the interest is going to equal the principal amount, which is the 6,000, times the rate as a decimal. So since it's 8%, we'd go 2 places to the left, which is the 0.08, right? So 0.08 times the time in terms of years. And this is easy because it just says 1 year. So that's just times 1. So that will be just finding the interest. So then you just go 6,000, right, times 0.08. Oh, I did divide. That's why it's, sorry, times 0.08. So $480 is the amount of interest. Okay. On $6,000 at 8% for 1 year. All right. Okay, let's try another one. So find the interest on $3,400. Sorry, I'm gonna change color. Let's do purple. Okay, So $3,400 at 6% for 2.5 years. Okay, so then the interest, which that's what we're wanting to find out. We're wanting to find the interest. So we're going to plug in the principal, which is $3,400, times the rate is 6%, and we know 6% as a decimal is 0.06 because we divide by 100, and then we add that 0. So 0.06 times the time in years, which this is just 2.5. Or if they had 2 1/2, you would know that's the same as 2.5. So then we just multiply those three values. So we get 3,400 times 0.06 times 2.5. That should be $510 would be your amount of interest that you would either pay if it's a loan or earn if it's, a savings account. So that's how you find the interest, just principal times rate times time. And make sure the rate is a decimal. Don't leave it as the percent. Okay, so the other type of problem you'll have on your assignment is not just finding the interest, but finding the total amount that's due. So this would be, if you're taking out a loan and it has simple interest, well, what's the total amount that you're going to end up paying? Because you're going to pay the principal amount that you borrowed plus the interest that is accrued. So we're going to start off finding what the interest is. So this is review from what we have previously done. So we have a loan where the principal amount was $4,200. The rate is 5% for 6 months. Okay, so we need to think, all right, we got to find the interest first. So the principal amount that we borrowed, or that was borrowed for this loan, is $4,200. And then we are going to times this by the rate as a decimal. So 5% as a decimal, we move it 2 places to the left. So we're going to add a 0. So that'll be 0.05. Now, this one is kind of tricky because it's talking about 6 months, but in the formula, the time is always referring to years. So you need to find, well, what fraction is 6 months of a year? So 12 months is a year. So what's 6 out of 12? Well, that's going to be a half a year, right? So then I can put 1/2 here, or I'm just going to put the decimal since that's what this one is a decimal. So then I multiply those values. So I get 4,200 times 0.05 times 0.5. So the interest for just the 6 months at 5%, what was it? 105, okay. Okay, so if the question asks, what is the interest, you would just say 105. But the question is wanting, well, what's the total amount that's due? So that means we have to use this by adding the principal amount, which was borrowed, plus the interest that was accrued. So the amount due will be 4,200 plus 105, which is $4,305. So that would be the total amount due on that loan after 6 months. So hopefully that helps you, and you have, I think, about 15 problems on your homework for 6.7. So good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.